The Conwy Castle is a roll-on, roll-off ferry that was built by the Brown Star Shipyards. She has a long service record, running regular transport links between various islands of Stormworks. She can sail at a top speed of 13.9 knots, and has a range of 62 kilometers at top speed. On May 14, 2020, the Conwy Castle departed from Creative Island. Her destination would be the military island. She was then going to pick up military supplies and return back to Creative Island, so there were no passengers nor cargo, and only the crew members. As she headed out to sea, a significant storm blew in. A mayday was declared. Apparently, the ship had started taking on water in a fierce storm. Water was entering the ship, and it started to tilt. The captain and crew abandoned in the only lifeboat, leaving the ship to sink. A local vessel was nearby, and they were able to render aid to the crew members. By the time helicopters reached the casualty, she had already sunk. The only thing left was the dinghy that the crew used to evacuate in. After the search of the sea and a head count, it was discovered that everyone had survived. This was amazing news, and then the salvage could begin. A floating crane was brought out to the site and was lowered into the water. This would be 1 out of 3 attempts used to raise the ship. A search of the ship was conducted. It was found to have all of its fuel still in its tanks, as well as no pollution leaking out. The ship was ready to be lifted. When lifting began, the weight of the casualty was so great that the connections just snapped. The connector suddenly swung violently. This was dangerous, and Plan A was abandoned. Once discovered that the ship would be almost impossible to raise, it was decided to pump out all the fuel and leave it as an artificial reef. Even though Plan A was a failure, we were still able to salvage the fuel and other pollutants that could have escaped. By doing this, we are protecting the Stormworks oceans, and also protecting the life that lives in those oceans. The ship will now live on as an artificial reef, and also for divers to practice on.